It has been quite some time, but we are back with a brand new top 25. We're looking at my top 25 most anticipated 2025 games. A lot of these titles do not actually have a ton of information, so I'm just going to be speaking candidly about them, but I just wanted to go over it because I'm super excited for the games that are coming out in 2025. But let's go ahead and jump right into number 25 and 24, and I should say Armed Fantasia and Penny Blood. Both of these games were connected from the very beginning through a Kickstarter, and we haven't really gotten more information on them. People are kind of wondering what's going on, but if they turn out what they're supposed to be based off of, like spiritual successors to the Wild Arms and Shadow Hearts franchises, then I think that both of them could be really good. I'd have to be a little bit skeptical here though, because remember, it is Kickstarter, and you never know what some of these Kickstarter games, you get excited, then it turns out to be not exactly what you were expecting. But Armed Fantasia and Penny Blood are supposedly coming to the Nintendo Switch successor, hopefully in 2025. Obviously, Wild Arms is an incredible franchise, great gameplay, characters, and everything. Like the style and the, I would say, brightness and the vibrancy of the colors and everything looks good in this one. And Shadow Hearts has been one of those old school, I would say, cult hit RPGs from the PS2 era that I loved as well. So if they turn out anywhere near as good as the franchise that they're based off of from a lot of the original people that made both of them, I think that Armed Fantasia and Penny Blood can be really good, and hopefully it comes out next year. They have not said a lot more information here, but I'm hoping that we get more as we head into 2025. Next up at number 23, Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. I'm not a huge Professor Layton person, but I'm actually really excited to watch this game quite a bit. Other people play it that are really good at these puzzle games, but I also want to see exactly this late type of Nintendo Switch title and what they do with the system. Level 5, they've done a great job with Professor Layton games, and I've enjoyed some of the Professor Layton games that I've played, so it's enough to get it in here at number 23. And I think that this one seems like it's going to be one of their more or most ambitious Professor Layton game to date. The graphics look really good. Looks like the puzzles are going to be interesting. And level 5, as long as they can kind of get everything together with the marketing and everything with this game, I think that it should be good. It also should be noted that Nintendo also pushed them to make this game, like saying, hey, like, we need a Professor Layton, make a Professor Layton. So I'm guessing that Nintendo will help out when it comes to marketing or distribution or something at some point, since Nintendo was so pushy with a Professor Layton game. But they've got a massive install base with the Nintendo Switch to sell it to, so I'm expecting this game, just as long as it's good, to do really well. Next up at number 22, Fantasy Life, The Girl Who Steals Time, another level 5 production here, and this one's been delayed a number of times, but I do think that it's actually pretty good that they delayed it. They've got a huge open world now, they've got a better looking game graphically, and they've got more classes, more combat, more options, more occupations, just more everything for you to do. But the open world reveal was actually pretty cool, and I think it'll make it a lot more appealing for this type of life simulation slash class-based game, where you can go exploring and adventuring and have very different types of gameplay compared to when you're trying to build up your town and your area, compared to when you actually go out and fight monsters and do everything. So I think that it's pretty good that they're delaying it and making sure that it's the best Fantasy Life game that they can get, because they probably won't get too many chances to make another big Fantasy Life game anytime soon, because it's taking them so long to make this game. So might as well make it the best that you can make it, right? So Fantasy Life, The Girl Who Steals Time, comes in at number 22. Coming in at number 21, Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. This game is coming out pretty soon here, spring. That one's not going to be too bad overall, and I'm looking forward to this one as well. I've never been a huge Rune Factory fan, but I do like the Rune Factory series. I've played a number of them over the years, and I think that they're pretty good. This might be the most ambitious one that they've ever made. I think it actually is, but I do like the themes of it, the Japanese festival and everything that they're doing there too, so I think it's pretty cool. They've got a nice mix of different styles of gameplay, and PC players will be able to get it too. So if you're having issues, or if there are issues with the Nintendo Switch version of the game when it comes to frame rate and all that, you can play the PC version of the game as well. So I plan on checking it out. I am hoping that they do some type of cross save between them, so you can have the portable play with the Nintendo Switch and then PC play. But if not, I mean, obviously I can just play it on my Steam Deck and I'll have it right there built in, so I won't have to worry about it too much. But yeah, Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma looks pretty good, and I'm looking forward to checking it out. Now, if you're enjoying this top 25 countdown video, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell. It really helps the channel grow. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right back into the top 25. At number 20, and I know this is going to be low for many people, Grand Theft Auto 6. I'm not a huge Grand Theft Auto fan, guys, so don't kill me in the comment section, but I am still looking forward to playing it. I wasn't big on Grand Theft Auto 5, I wasn't big on Grand Theft Auto 4, and really haven't enjoyed a Grand Theft Auto game probably since San Andreas. I did think that one was pretty cool. I've played most of them, but I've just never been too big on Grand Theft Auto. But this one actually looks pretty cool, and I think that it's going to be an event for the industry that I think that I just have to check out. Even if I end up not liking it, I'd rather take the chance of playing it, and maybe it actually is really good compared to not trying it out at all and being left out when it comes to if the game ends up being awesome. Maybe it is going to be as good as how I see San Andreas or some of the other GTA games for me. So maybe it might be there. So there is a nice level of anticipation for me. I'm just not expecting it to be higher than a lot of the other games that I typically like to play. Not because the game won't be quality, just because I'm just not big on GTA. But GTA 6 is something that I think that everyone is at least going to be looking out and seeing if they want to pick up. We did find out that GTA 5 has sold over 200 million copies. So clearly GTA 6 is going to be massive. Now, next up at number 19 is Lunar Remastered Collection. I love me some old school JRPGs from the 16-bit era plus, and Lunar Remastered is going to be just that. I love the 32-bit RPGs. I love the 16-bit RPGs. I love old school games being brought back in any type of way, especially when they remaster them, add new things, quality of life features. It makes it so good, and Lunar is a great game. Even without the updates that they're going to do to the game, it's already awesome. So them bringing it back in this type of way is absolutely something that I wanted to see. So I'm very excited for Lunar Remastered Collection coming out in 2025. Next up at number 18, Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster, Gate, Rune, and Dungeon Unification Wars. And I love that title. Just, they should make it even longer. They should add some more stuff to it. So this one also been delayed for quite some time, but we are finally going to get it in March 6th. On March 6th, 2025. I'm looking forward to it because Suikoden is one of those franchises that I played back in the day, but I never got around to actually beating the games because I didn't have a PS1 when they were relevant, and I can only play and rent it for a bit or go to certain places or play it at a friend's house or borrow the system. I never got around to actually beating the games, and I don't think I ever really played 2. I might have, but I just don't remember. Suikoden 1 I definitely played. So now we're having a remaster, and just like Lunar Collection, it's great. They're taking the old games, they're taking their time, they're remastering them, they're adding all sorts of cool quality of life features to make it better played in today's day. And with the Nintendo Switch or even PC Steam Deck, you're going to be able to play it anywhere that you want. That perfectly fits this type of turn-based RPG. So very excited to see Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster coming out early 2025. Next up at number 17, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. And yes, I am looking forward to playing this because I barely remember playing Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. I did not replay it any other times. I did not play the Nintendo 3DS version of the game, which this one actually comes with the 3DS exclusive levels, so I've never played that. So that's actually new content for me. And I played it back when it first came out, and I played it co-op with my brother, and it was 2010, dude. I do not remember. That was 14 years ago. I have so much more stuff that's happened, and the game was memorable, but it wasn't as memorable as Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for me because I played that game multiple times. I played it on the Wii U twice, and I played it on the Nintendo Switch. So I just remember Tropical Freeze a lot more than I remember Return. So I'm looking forward to playing it, especially with that new 3DS content in there and in HD. And I remember playing it with the silly Wii remote controls and just not liking the Wii remote controls at all, having to waggle for certain things and all that. So now you can actually just play it normally now without using any type of mods or something. So very excited for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Looking forward to checking it out because I just forgot everything about it. Played it co-op back then, used the Wiimote controls, and didn't play the 3DS levels that are now going to be on this HD version. So yeah, looking forward to that in January. Next up at number 16 is Tales of Graces F Remastered. Also very excited for this. Never played thoroughly the original Tales of Graces. Big Tales fans have consistently said Tales of Graces F is one of their most anticipated or most wanted remasters, and apparently based off of hands-on from people that have gotten a chance to play the game, it is easily their best remaster that they've ever done, which I guess is not saying much because the remasters aren't incredible, but I do think that they did take the extra time to make sure that they remastered this one very well. And you're gonna get 60 frames per second on every system but Nintendo Switch, unfortunately, but you're still gonna get a solid 30 frames, portable anywhere that you want, 1080p resolution, and then for all the other platforms, you're gonna be able to run it at 4K 60, and it has a host of quality of life features, and of course, the great Tales of gameplay that you know and love. So Tales of Graces F Remastered, definitely a game that I'm absolutely keeping my eye on. All right, coming in at number 15 is Freedom Wars Remastered. I almost forgot about this game, but I'm actually really excited for it because it was an old PS Vita game that nobody really played, and Sony was like, all right, we'll send the license out to Bandai Namco and the team that's doing that, some of the original people on there, and that's really good because so many people didn't play Freedom Wars, and it's going to be remastered with better graphics, in addition to the online play intact and a bunch of quality of life features. So this is a game that you can play with your friends, you can play solo, you can enjoy the new visuals, the new content that's going to be added in. This is the best way to play overall. It's going to be on the Nintendo Switch, it's going to be on PC, PlayStation, so this is definitely an exciting thing. I feel that all of the old school PSP, PS Vita, Nintendo DS, 3DS games, these are some of the best titles that are just stuck on those systems just because a lot of developers just want to move on or publishers want to move on past them. But no, whenever you can bring back something awesome, bring it back, and Freedom Wars is absolutely a game that demands my attention at least, and that's the reason why it made it number 15 on the list. Coming in at number 14, it's Ghost of Yotei. This is the new Sucker Punch follow-up to Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm excited to see exactly how much they're going to improve from the original game. Now, I did play Ghost of Tsushima for 20, 30 plus hours or so, and I felt that there were so many great things about it. The combat was fun. I think that the open world was beautiful to look at. The writing and the story was fantastic, but there were some deficiencies within some of the gameplay parts that I necessarily wasn't huge on. And I think that Ghost of Yotei can really improve upon these and really differentiate itself from other open-ended action games like Assassin's Creed and more, which it already did with Ghost of Tsushima, but I think they're going to take that even further with this next one. Now, some people have complained about the graphics not being the best or not that much better than Ghost of Tsushima on the PlayStation 5, but to me, I think the graphics are already good enough. This could spell that they're really trying to hammer out and work on the gameplay aspects instead of trying to make the game look way better than like Horizon Forbidden West or something like that. Now, we still have to wait and see. It's not a finished product, what they showed us, so obviously it could look better, but I think that they're really trying to nail down the gameplay aspects and improve upon the game when it comes to gameplay mechanics and when it comes to what you can do within the world, having more options for traversal, having different places where you can climb, just expanding the tool set that the character has. So I think that this could be a really, really cool thing and potentially could be in the Game of the Year discussion for 2025. So coming in at number 14 for my most anticipated is Ghost of Yotei on the PlayStation 5. Next up at number 13, The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak 2. And listen, guys, I'm so far behind when it comes to the Legend of Heroes games. It seems like these games come out like 5 or 6 times per year. I know that's not the case, but it seems like they come out so often because we're behind from the Japanese releases to the Western releases, and it just creates a little bit of a paradox overall because then they're also announcing new Legend of Heroes games while the other games aren't even out yet, but we're already seeing tons of footage because it's in Japan. So I've played a bit of The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak, and I love the hybrid combat system. The action and the RPG, turn-based RPG elements are so good. It's done really, really well. Probably the best example of a hybrid system in gaming so far. So what they're doing with The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak 2 is even taking that to the next level, then of course getting all the story and everything all caught up and even better than what they've done before. They're upping the ante. So I'm looking forward to playing it as I'm finishing up Metaphor Fantasia. So there's just too many games to play, not enough time, but I'll definitely get it done. And I'm very much looking forward to Falcom's next major big Legend of Heroes title with Trails Through Daybreak 2. Next up at number 12 is Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact. And I'm a huge Hunter x Hunter fan. For those who don't know, love Hunter x Hunter, watched all the way through the anime. I know that there's manga stuff that's happening. Maybe we'll get something else when it comes to animation, but I love the series. I think it's really cool. It's got a cool power structure and system, but what makes this game very exciting and separate itself from the other anime glut of games that we get is that, one, it's not an arena fighter. I am just sick of arena fighters. Don't get me wrong, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is awesome, but I'm just sick of arena fighters. This is not that. So it's not going to fall into the same trap that we saw with the JJK game and that we saw with My Hero as well. This is a 2D 3-on-3 fighter. Think Marvel vs. Capcom 3, think Marvel superheroes, think something along the lines of that. Simple to pick up and play, hard to master, and it has all of your favorite Hunter x Hunter characters fighting in some 2D action. So this is exactly what I feel this franchise could use. It could use a high quality 2D fighting game that's easy to pick up and play. And the cool thing about this is that it's made by Aiding. For those who don't know, Aiding did make Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and have had a hand at a variety and plethora of fighting games over the years. They're kind of like the hidden geniuses or brains behind a lot of fighting games that you might not know about, like Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So I'm very excited that they're back at it. And they made the Naruto Clash of Ninja series, which to me was the best Naruto fighting game back in the day. So they're back with their own title here, and I'm very much looking forward to Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact sometime in 2025. And the cool thing is that it got delayed to 2025 because they are going to be adding rollback netcode, and I hope they add crossplay because I think this game is not going to sell really well, and you don't want to lock the base into either just PC or PlayStation or Nintendo Switch. You want to have people fighting against each other. So I hope that they really get good rollback netcode, which they said that they're working on, and then of course they somehow get crossplay figured out. Next up at number 11 is Fable, coming to the Xbox Series. I was a huge Fable fan. Fable 3, that's where they lost me, but Fable 1, Fable 2, Fable the Lost Chapters, all really good stuff. The Fable Remaster on the Xbox 360, I played through all of them and I really had a blast. I think that Fable, despite under-delivering on many different features because of Peter Molyneux, I think that the game is still very much fun, and it was a quintessential Xbox RPG back in the day. A lot of the different powers that you can use, how they had it mapped, the gameplay, the options, it was just really cool and had a very unique sense of humor with the British style and all that. So I think that with this new Fable game, graphically looks like it's going to be crazy based off of what they've shown so far, but I also think gameplay wise they've had a lot of time to think about what they want Fable to be. They've had a lot of time because they announced this game like 4+ years ago or something like that. So I'm hoping that all of that time and that energy and them researching exactly how to bring back Fable to us will be worth it in 2025. So Fable comes in at number 11. All right, guys, we are in the top 10. Let's start off with the big one, Monster Hunter Wilds, February 28th. Very much looking forward to this, and it's so crazy because I downloaded the beta and then I didn't even play it, but I'm excited for it. I just want to get into the actual game. I played Monster Hunter Rise. It was awesome. I've played many of the other Monster Hunter games, but never got into them like I got into Monster Hunter Rise. And while I'm not a full-fledged Monster Hunter fanatic at this point, I'm still very excited to see what Monster Hunter Wilds is doing because I think that it looks incredible, but I didn't want to sully my gameplay experience with the demo beforehand and then have to wait multiple months before I even get my hands on the game. So it's a little bit of me saying, I just want to wait for the full experience and then really dive in when I get a chance, because Monster Hunter Rise was just awesome to play. I'm not going to be one of those people that plays Monster Hunter Wilds for like 10,000 hours and has monster parties and all sorts of other stuff, but I'm definitely going to put a good amount of time into it like I did with Monster Hunter Rise, and graphically it looks incredible. Gameplay wise, they've upped the combat in terms of the looks and what you can do and the quality of life features above what we saw in World and Rise as well. So from what I've seen and from how it plays, I think this is going to be a blast when it launches in February of 2025. Number 9 is Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake. We're going to be getting Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake very soon as of the time that I'm recording this video, and then we're going to get the follow-ups to that because it's supposed to go in the order, according to the developers, 3, 1, and then 2. So it's all going to fit in line after I beat 3. I'm going to be very excited to go into 1 and 2, and the HD 2D remakes just look awesome. They haven't really shown anything of Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake, but if it looks as good as Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake, I think this is going to be really good overall, and I'm looking forward to just that old school gameplay. Dragon Quest has it, but they've added a ton of quality of life features overall and even new content. And I think that that makes playing the old school games that are kind of crusty when it comes to the re-releases and just modernizing them and making them a bit better, but having that soul of the old school with the HD 2D graphics and everything. And so far from what we've seen from Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake, it looks so good. That pixel art blends with the new crisp graphics of Unreal Engine 4 and their HD 2D engine. It just blends all so well together. Dragon Quest, one of the biggest IPs out there. It's starting to spread in terms of its popularity here in the US, and that's why I got Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake in at number 9. Next up at number 8, Atelier Yumiya, The Alchemist of Memories and the Envisioned Land, coming this March. Honestly, it could have been higher, but there's so many great games overall. I had to put it right here. But what makes this game super exciting is them taking a lot more of the budget that they made. They made a ton of money relative to the Atelier franchise. They sold more copies than they've ever sold of Atelier right there on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, PC, and now for the first time ever, it's expanded to Xbox with Atelier Yumiya. But what makes this game exciting is the actual open-ended areas, the open world, and the combat system being a mix of the turn-based and real-time is super cool. The alchemy that they're doing, it's going to be on the fly, and also where you can go back to your place and really do some super creations and stuff. But I love how they've done with the open world. It gives me a Breath of the Wild feel overall. Probably won't quite be as good as that, but gives me that feel of freedom in the open-ended areas. But then the RPG overtones and overlays that I love in so many games. So Atelier Yumiya looks great. The character design looks awesome. Seems like the voice acting is going to be really good when it comes to the Japanese voice acting, at least. Not sure if there's actually going to be a dub for it, but I'm very excited overall to get into this game. I think it looks great combat-wise. Cannot wait to tear into it and kind of get to the depths of what makes it tick overall. So Atelier Yumiya, The Alchemist of Memories and the Envisioned Land, makes it in at number 8 on my list. Coming in at number 7, The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky the First. This is a remake of the original, where it started, and I've been waiting for this. You know how long I've been waiting for this? I mean, like, seriously, it's something that we've all been waiting for, because people talk about how you have to go in order and you have to play the Trails games like this and that, and it's kind of annoying, but at the same time, I get it overall. But there's so many games and just not enough time. But now we have a definitive place to go from. And they also said that if this does well, they'll continue remaking it in order, and we can play the best. We can play some of these games that people revere so highly, but then also have it with updated graphics, with quality of life features, of course, with portable play built in on the Nintendo Switch or the next gen Nintendo. This is so good to see, and this game looks great from what they've shown. You look at the original and then you compare it to this looks really good. Some people were even saying, wait a minute, this isn't a Switch game, it's like a Switch 2 game. I'm like, come on guys, it's a Switch game, it looks like that. But that's how good it looks overall, and I cannot wait to play it. They've got the hybrid stuff, it's old school turn-based, they got all the stuff that you remember from the original, but even better with more quality of life features pumped into it. So I am pumped to be able to get into The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, the first remake, coming out sometime in 2025. That's why it makes it number 7 on my list. Coming in at number 6, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. It looks spectacular. It looks like the old school Metroid Prime that we all know and love. Back in 2002, when I was blown away by the 60 frames per second, the graphics, the effects, everything just really looked awesome. And Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is giving me some of that feeling when I first saw Samus there in that first person mode. Even though I don't like first person too much, the fact that they took the Metroid formula and somehow adapted it to where it felt like Metroid like that is crazy. And they've had so much time to make this game. This game has been in development for years now, since they rebooted it back in 2018/2019. So I'm expecting a great adventure, and Silas is there. Looks like they're really taking care of the story, and it looks like the gameplay overall, if you didn't see my analysis on it, I'll have a link for you guys in the description, but it looks like they're actually taking the time to build dynamic levels to where you can do different incursions. Like, you can actually do more stealth and go around, or you can actually take certain routes to go through like a violent way too. So I'm very excited to see exactly how this game plays out. And honestly guys, after Metroid Dread and what they did with that, I have so much high expectations just for the Metroid series in general. Nintendo wants to make sure that these games are quality, and you're seeing with Metroid Dread and how long they took for that game and how long they're taking with this, you can see that Nintendo has a commitment to quality with the Metroid series. So I cannot wait for it. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond makes it in at number 6 on my list. All right, guys, top 5 now. Pokemon Legends ZA in at number 5. This game could have been higher, once again, just like a lot of these titles, but Pokemon Legends ZA is going to be awesome. I just can't wait to actually get my hands on the game itself. They're taking one of the best gens. They're bringing back the Mega Evolutions. It looks like they're going to have a more explorable city overall. It's going to be far more dynamic, and they can build off of the best Switch Pokemon game. I think that's the best single player experience overall with the Pokemon games on the Nintendo Switch, and it looks like they're going to expand that even further with what they're doing. I think that they're going to really understand a bit more, build on top of what they had with Pokemon Legends Arceus, so this could look better and run better. Although Pokemon Legends Arceus actually ran fairly decent on the Nintendo Switch, especially in portable mode, where it actually ran a little bit better than in docked mode. I just hope that they clean up some of the graphics and kind of make that a bit better, because they are taking their time and they haven't shown us anything with it. Despite not having a ton of information, to me at least, that means they really want to show it when it's ready and when it's time to not have that negative backlash overall. So they're taking their time and they're making sure that they don't show it too early and they show it when it's actually ready. So I'm very excited to see, hopefully like a Pokemon Day in early 2025, we get a real big blowout on the game, overview trailer, and exactly see what Pokemon Legends ZA is all about, because I put 80 hours plus into Pokemon Legends Arceus, so I am ready for the next one now, as it's been 3 years since the original release. Well, it will be 3 years in 2025. So Pokemon Legends ZA makes it the number 5 on the list. Coming in at number 4, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This game looks incredible. In a sea of Japanese games that I've been talking about here, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, a Western-based game, some developers in France, but they are doing things their own style, their own take on the old school Japanese RPG gameplay, but with a whole different setting and coat of paint that I absolutely love. I love the premise of the game. I think that the active time battle stuff is really cool, kind of building on the Paper Mario roots and all of that. Some of the other great context-based RPGs out there, like Legend of Dragoon, they've talked about how they're big fans of Persona and how that bleeds into the game as well. So for me, as a hardcore JRPG fan, a hardcore RPG fan, this gets me super excited. And from what they've shown, they're going to have top tier voice acting talent as well. They've got top tier graphics, and the game is just $50. And the reason why, it's not because it's a lack of content or quality. The game is going to have 30-hour campaign, and you can maybe double that time if you do all the side quests. But it's because it's the first time that they've made a game, it's a brand new IP, and they want as many people to play the game as possible. So they understand that turn-based RPGs aren't the biggest sellers out there for a lot of people, unless you're Pokemon or something, or like Baldur's Gate or something like that. There's not a ton of them that sell crazy amounts, and you're on systems that aren't known for buying turn-based RPGs. So I think that it's a good call to make it a $50 game and not a $70 game. Plus they got the Game Pass deal too, so I think that's good for them, and people can play it if you already have Game Pass. I'll be buying a PS5 copy though, maybe even PC to support doubly. So Clair Obscur Expedition 33 makes it number 4 on the list. Coming in at number 3, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. This is probably the most technically superior Wii U game, one of the best open world titles that I've ever played, and now they are putting it out on the Nintendo Switch. It's going to have updated graphics, it's going to have updated multiplayer, it's going to have a host of quality of life features, it looks better, sounds better, it's going to run better, and they've got a whole new, I would say, like color scheme that doesn't look so washed out overall from what we've seen so far with the trailer. But me, I'm very excited to see what they do with the online multiplayer in that game. It looks like the NSO playtest could have something to do with that and them testing out 32 players online. I made a video on that as well. I'll have a link for that in the description below so you can see where that's coming from. But it looks like this is going to be more than just a port of the game. They're really redoing and retweaking some of this stuff, and honestly, they could have just brought the game over just by itself and it still would have been incredible. But the fact that they're actually taking the time to tweak so many different things and enhance stuff based off of what we know so far, it just makes it even better. It takes an incredible game and just makes it even that much better on the Nintendo Switch, and now we can play every single Xenoblade Chronicles game on the Nintendo Switch platform. That's just goated in its own right, anywhere that you want. So Xenoblade Chronicles X makes it number 3 on the list. Now I have a little bit of something here, guys, coming in at 2 and number 1. We're gonna do a double time here, and that is Nintendo Switch 2 first party games. Guys, listen, we know that Nintendo Switch 2 is launched in 2025. We know there's gonna be big first party games, and I think potentially, once again, I could be wrong. If you don't like me doing this, that's fine. Put Xenoblade Chronicles, put Clair Obscur in at number 1 and 2, or whatever you want to do, right? But new 3D Mario, new Mario Kart. I think both of these have a chance of launching in 2025. And if they do, they deserve my most anticipated spots. I definitely think a brand new 3D Mario game is launched in 2025. Everything is lining up for that to be the case. The fact that there wasn't a Super Mario Odyssey 2, the fact that we haven't gotten a big major single player new Mario game that wasn't part of like an expansion or something like that, or a port of a game. I think that they've been hard at work on that next Mario adventure, and when we see it on the Nintendo Switch 2 or the Nintendo Switch successor, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be absolutely spectacular. And same goes for Mario Kart. Once again, we didn't get a brand new Mario Kart game on the Nintendo Switch, although we got a ton of DLC, a bunch of quality of life features and updates to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that makes it almost a new game. They still have been working on a brand new Mario Kart game. They just didn't expect Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to sell so much, 64 million units and counting overall. So it's been crazy, but they've absolutely been toying away at the next big Mario Kart game, and they've got so much time to make this truly the biggest and best Mario Kart. I'm expecting a single player campaign. I'm expecting expansive multiplayer because of the NSO playtest and how they're going to be incorporating that. I'm expecting so much better graphics because of the Nintendo Switch 2. There is a lot to live up here, and it's not like they didn't get the funding to do it because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold a ton. So I think that they're not going to spare any resources when it comes to 3D Mario, with Mario Odyssey selling 28 million and Mario Kart with that selling 64 million units plus. These two are going to be massive for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I think it's going to be 2025 for both of them. Maybe one hits early, launch with the new 3D Mario, and then holiday we have Mario Kart. That can be somewhat like how Nintendo did it with the 3DS, when they had in the first year a brand new 3D Mario with Super Mario 3D Land and a brand new Mario Kart with Mario Kart 7. I think we're going to see the same thing here in 2025 for the Nintendo Switch successor. But that is my top 25 most anticipated games of 2025. What are your top or most anticipated games heading into next year? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other top 25 countdowns right here on screen. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.